Hey, what's poppin', guys? It's Harold Fidge, and welcome back to the Gaming Strike. Last time checked, it's been almost a year since I've done one of these, but I have found myself a new host. His name is Lightning Bolt. You might have seen him in a few of my videos recently, and you probably kind of know who he is, unless if you're just watching this for the first time. Say hello, Lightning, and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Lightning.
Yeah, he is Lightning. So, yeah, he's gonna be our my new co-host. And so, last time we talked about gaming news, and we talked about news and just gaming stories in general. We're going to keep that same format. Now, in this case, I am going to tell you guys some gaming news that is utterly ridiculous. So, Lightning, you know about Assassin's Creed Unity, right?
No, please do explain.
No, I'm talking about the game Assassin's Creed Unity.
No, I actually don't.
You actually
I know. Well, I don't have a lot of details on it, I guess you could say.
Well, it's the Assassin's Creed that has co-op in it, basically.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
And I've been looking forward to it. Well, I wanted to get it on PC, because I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One. And they recently revealed the system requirements about, 3 or 4 weeks from launch. Now, I'm going to read you this off. And I'm going to then read you off Watch Dogs system requirements. And Watch Dogs was the last game from Ubisoft that came out back in May. And you're going to see a giant jump in difference. Maybe RAM, not so much, but you're going to see this. So, Assassin's Creed Unity, recommended Intel CPU, is a Core i5 2500K at 3.3 gigahertz. That CPU is rated 10 out of 10. The graphics card is a GeForce GTX 680. AMD GPU is a 7970, which is a Radeon HD. Now, this is where it gets even weirder. And I'm just going to say this. The minimum requirements CPU, an AMD CPU, minimum requirements, is an FX 8350. Now I'm going to read you what the recommended requirements are. It's an FX 8350. It's the same exact CPU. So, there's something wrong there, don't you think? What do you think, Lightning? It's the same exact CPU for both minimum and recommended.
Either they haven't done much research on that and are just spitting out CPUs, or they are truly insane.
I'm just gonna, minimum requirements for the RAM is 6 gigs. With Watch Dogs, it was the same thing, which was minimum was 6. Recommended was 8 gigs. That's not a big deal. But Watch Dogs had the same thing for recommended. Now, you know what the GTX 780 is, the GeForce GTX 780, right?
Yeah.
It's a card a lot of people use. That's the recommended GPU for a game like this.
Uh-huh.
My question is, how does this run on a PS4 and an Xbox One? Seriously.
They dumb it down.
They would have to. But that's utterly ridiculous. That's some insane requirements. It's like they skipped, like somebody said, it's like they wanted to make future next gen. It's gotta be a few years before, these are, requirements that everybody's gonna basically have who upgrade their computers. Who is going to really upgrade their computer to play Assassin's Creed Unity? In reality. Ubisoft is well known for, Uplay being glitchy and bad. And, bad PC ports. So, I highly don't... I'm gonna wait. I want to get this game on PC. But I'm going to wait until the benchmarks come out. Because these are some insane system requirements. Right here. Now, I'm going to just read off the Watch Dogs requirements. The minimum was 6 gigs of RAM again. And I'm going to just read off. Assassin's Creed Unity is going to be 50 gigs, apparently. Watch Dogs was 20 gigs. Jesus Christ. I'm going to just say the video... Watch Dogs had really low system requirements compared to Assassin's Creed Unity. For recommended, for Watch Dogs, it was a GeForce GTX 560 Ti instead of 780. Core i7 3770, 4-core at 3.4 gigahertz. And the same CPU from Assassin's Creed Unity, an FX 8350, was for recommended. I'm not going to go through minimum because there's a lot of them. And the Intel and the AMD CPUs, and I read off. And the 78050 was for the AMD GPU. Are you seeing something there that's, kind of concerning? Like
That they're getting.
that they made a huge jump in like a matter of like 6 months, give or take.
I mean, compared to Watch Dogs, I know you and me played it a couple times.
Your computer was blue screening a lot while playing it.
And I don't like. Did they ever fix that even?
They fixed performance on it. Like I could downplay it on high, like just fine at like 30 FPS. Well, if some drops down to 25, but that's just me. And I play it at like my native resolution, but it's just what's concerning is it's kind of sad when you think about it because Assassin's Creed Unity looks fantastic. But at the same time, it doesn't look like it's that high of a graphical upgrade for something like Watch Dogs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like, I can understand, like, they have, like, 30,000 AI on the screen, but it's like Ubisoft just, like, gave a quick hash and then just realized, oh, this game is not really optimized, let's just ship it as is. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what happened with GTA 4. And GTA 4 wasn't that well optimized back in the day. I mean, it still chugs on some people's computers to this day. So it's kind of concerning, and I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be the case that more computers will be able to run it, and Ubisoft just didn't know what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling it's going to be a console port, like no matter what, it's going to be a console port. I wouldn't be surprised. And Watch Dogs wasn't optimized. It's been optimized since then. But I have a feeling it's going to take about... Like, Watch Dogs just recently got optimized in, like, September, so I have a feeling it's going to take a few months before Assassin's Creed Unity is going to be fully playable, you know?
See, what bothers me is Ubisoft is getting progressively more hardware-dependent for its games just because it's got so much stuff, but that would be good if they actually had it optimized right out of the gate, but they insist on demanding more powerful hardware to power the games that aren't even optimized right out of the gate, then make the players wait months so half the computers can work and half cannot, and then once they get that patch, then only like 10% more, and it slowly goes up, and even then you might be able to play it only on like medium settings.
Yeah, I had that happen with me with Watch Dogs for the longest time. Like, 2 performance patches had come out, and I was still playing on, like, medium settings, because high chugged, like molasses. And you know what was that?
And it's like, even with the Assassin's Creed Unity, if they have more stuff and they're demanding more hardware, maybe there'll be more problems, something like that. It might even be worse than Watch Dogs right out of the gate, optimization-wise.
Yeah, that's what worries me. Somebody made a joke the other day saying you're going to the next Assassin's Creed, whatever it's going to be called, like Assassin's Creed Booty Call, it's going to require, like, a GTX Titan at the rate they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally utterly bonkers. And I feel like these recommended and minimum system requirements, it worries me, first off, that Ubisoft is just going to keep, as you said, keep demanding more hardware. Like, what is Far Cry 4? What is Far Cry 4 system requirements going to be? If Assassin's Creed Unity is like this, what is Far Cry 4 going to be? And it comes out, like, what, a week after?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should be hearing what Far Cry 4 system requirements are soon. But if Assassin's Creed Unity's benchmarks aren't looking good, I think Far Cry 4 is a better bet. It looks similar to Far Cry 3, so I would presume it's going to maybe have, like... It might be just a slight step up in requirements. It's a larger open world, so I would kind of say, yeah, Far Cry 4 might actually be a better port than Assassin's Creed Unity. But yeah, that's the one thing that does worry me, is Assassin's Creed Unity isn't gonna be that great. I mean, a lot of these CPUs are very high-end CPUs. Mm-hmm. So and like graphics cards like the 780 and stuff, it just worries me. And I mean, I ran Watch Dogs just fine at launch. Like, I ran it at like 40 to 50 FPS on medium settings. But like now I can run it on high at 30. It's just it's really iffy, I guess, to some extent.
No.
Far Cry 4 is looking promising, though, but it does look a lot like Far Cry 3. Like, there's some animations reused, but I don't exactly know if that's a bad thing. Far Cry 3 was a really good game. It looks like they're really expanding on it. But Assassin's Creed Unity looks good too, but the one thing that really bothers me about this entire thing is these system requirements are so high, and I mentioned this earlier. How is the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One actually running that game? I know it's running at like 900p and 30 FPS, but still.
Yeah.
They should be running at like 240p at like 10 FPS. I mean, Jesus, I don't... I know like between like... They have like 4 gigs, like they have like 8 gigs in total, like 4 gigs for like video memory and like 4 gigs of RAM. And they're like shared. Like you could have like 7 gigs of RAM and then like 1 gig of video memory, like it's shared. And the game developers can tailor it the way they want. Like I heard that with the Evil Within. And that's why the Evil Within system requirements are higher. But at the same time, I feel like somehow that this game is purposely being like I feel like Microsoft.
Welcome to our casino.
I feel like Microsoft shelled out like mucho dinero and told Ubisoft to totally botch up the PC port. And I think we should just leave it at that. I think we just kind of know the PC port is going to be botched because mucho dinero.
Yeah.
So I guess we have a story to tell you guys. Lightning brought this up. I completely forgot about this prior to this. There's this game on Steam. It's free to play. It's called Velvet Sundown. And me and Lightning played it, like, what was it, about 5 rounds or something?
Oh, that's been more than that.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that game. And it was stupid. It was like a text-based thing with text-to-speech. They removed the text-to-speech for some time there, but they added it back in eventually. But the text-to-speech was the dumbest thing ever. And it would totally botch most of the things you tried to say. Well, me and Lightning always went in there with one goal. To troll. And we wound up trolling each other at times. And I think I want Lightning to kick off this story. So you can kick it off, Lightning.
Well, once upon a time, there's a game called Velvet Sundown. It's a game that has multiple scenarios. People can join. Basically walk around, do the objectives. I don't remember exactly which ones we did. I know the murder one came out late August. We played that a couple times. That was pretty fun. You had to find out who the murderer was, I believe.
Yeah. Somebody like murdered the captain.
Yeah.
And like, and everybody like I'm gonna throw a quick blurb in before Lightning continues. It was serious like role play. Like people had to role play. So there were these times we got in there and these people were like stone cold hardcore role players, and like we were the key to getting their objective done. And it's just, I can't remember which scenario this is, but I'll let Lightning go on.
Oh, I remember one in particular. Going off Harold's idea, the serious role player. I believe it was a picture of some sort that someone gave me during the game.
Wasn't it that like you adopted somebody's child or something?
I thought
the picture was like like her name was Dahlia or something, and she had you like her objective was to make you like adopt her child or something from the streets of like Venezuela.
Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, she was trying to get me to adopt her child, and I just wouldn't, and then wouldn't, and she, like, had to keep going at me to get that, to complete it, and I just wouldn't. And then there's another time, and it was could have swore it was a passport. Someone gave me their passport.
That was me! I gave you my passport! I gave you my passport and you wouldn't give it back. I had yours, and you had mine. And
I know this one lady wanted that.
She desperately wanted the passport because that was her objective.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't give it to her.
It was the red-haired woman that wanted to get it, and she would get up all my face, and I know me and Harold, being the trolls that we are, we would rip into her and call her names and stuff. And then she called us names and deviated from her plan.
Dude, was that the one where you wound up we wound up with like a rift in the middle of it? Like you wound up teaming up with her at one point, and you still wouldn't give her the passport at the end. Like you promised her to give you the passport if you helped her like complete your objective or something, and she went through with it.
Yeah, I think I double crossed like 2 people to get to her so that I would be able to give her the passport that you gave me in order to complete my objective so I could win.
Yeah, that was like one of the most. It was like triple agent. Like you were double crossing me, you were double crossing her, and you were double crossing the bartender.
I think I might have double-crossed the dog that was walking around
I
there.
think you even like in order to complete your objective. I remember there was this one time we played with a group of people. We had Reese, we had Lily when she was a part of our community. We had Amsterdam when he was a part of our community, and we all went in there. Mm-hmm. My favorite was Reese crashing. Like he never actually loaded in. I think he loaded in once and got like 5 FPS and quit out. But I do remember this one time one of us had to like. It was really strange. I kept getting hit on by the deep-voiced Russian man.
Oh, yeah. That's one of our first ones.
Yeah, that was our first one, actually. He kept
was.
hitting on me. And remember I went in the closet because you were, like... I think it was you. You were, like, talking to the woman in the closet for whatever reason. And I jumped in on the conversation, and the Russian guy jumped in on the conversation. He tases me, takes my stuff, and runs off. And then I hear him talking smack about me upstairs like 5 minutes later, and I joined into the conversation and stalking. I start stalking him. I start talking smack about him, and then he rage quits midway through, and so I couldn't complete my objective, which is ridiculous. But yeah, Velvet Sundown. What an extraordinary game.
Yep, there's a lot of stories from that.
Yeah. I remember when we went in with like a group of 4 that one time, though. We actually got all of us in the game, and there was like only 2 randoms. Mm-hmm. And then the one guy quit, so that we were all harassing the stewardess. Remember?
Yep.
Like we were actually in a group harassing the stewardess. And one time I like spit out razor blades for my crotch. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely bonkers. And then somebody was saying Shrek is love, Shrek is life the entire time. Like, it was like some satanic ritual in, like, a circle. But yeah, Velvet Sundown. I cannot believe that game exists. I don't actually know if they've added any new scenarios since we actually played it.
They don't need to.
I actually haven't had to update that game in, like, forever. So I'm thinking they haven't actually added anything new.
Probably not.
Yeah. I do think they'll add something inevitably new. I do remember the times on the Dark RP. We actually owned a Dark RP server. The server's still up. Nobody plays on it anymore. We were once popular long ago. I remember how you had like this impenetrable base. Mm-hmm. Mother of God, how long does that take you to build? Because you did it quite a few times.
Was that when I had it in the corner?
Yeah, when you had it in that garage.
Garage?
Yeah, like, it had, like, that garage door, remember? It was, like, in the corner by the bank. Like, the Bank of America. Or, no, that was the previous map. Okay, so it was in the corner, yeah. It was in the corner by, like, the sewers. Do you recall that?
Oh, in the big garage.
Yeah, the big garage.
Oh, I was thinking in the suburbs in the corner.
No.
But, yeah, in the garage. The one I built 3 times in the same day because the server got restart by Fluffy. Yeah, I remember that.
How long did that actually take you to build? I don't know.
I'd say a good 20 to 30 minutes.
Each time?
20. 20, actually. Wait, 30 the first time just to figure out what I was doing. And then 20 just because I knew what I was doing and could plan it out pretty good. But it was just time consuming because you had to like place everything, then do the stacker, and then you had to put all the materials down. Then you get to put fading doors in, then keypads. But it was worth it.
Yeah,
it was pretty penetrable.
And I actually really liked it. I thought it was... I liked our Dark RP days when we were popular. And it's actually a really shame that Lily actually hacked us and, like, we lost all of our player base after that.
Yeah.
I think that's a real shame. But we had a lot of fun on there.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they kept sending me, like, invoice and billing notices, yet they... Like, I'm, like, 3 weeks overdue on my payment, and they haven't shut it down yet. It's like the server provider kind of died or something, and they're like, well, you know, yeah, he's our only customer. But, Yeah, I liked our Dark RP days. Remember when we used to troll Dark RPs before we actually got a Dark RP?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one thing nobody actually really knows, other than, like, between us, like, everybody who filmed it. Remember when we played Murder that one night? I still have the video files, and I've been meaning to edit the rest of them. Like, I got the second episode off, which I feel is one of my better videos. Because that video is so funny. We had a lot of time playing it. We spent about... I actually haven't got to... I haven't talked to Smitty in, like, forever, man. Is he even still on my friends list?
It's in mine, I think. Yeah. Unless he took me out.
Let me check. No, Smitty's still on my friends list. Yeah. Who else was with us? It was Smitty, Reese, you, me, and who else? Whatever happened to that one kid, Atomic, or whatever his name was?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That one kid who kept having, like, problems with his internet and never actually joined us?
That was before me.
Oh. No, he was there. He was there when we filmed. He just didn't talk that much.
Really?
Yeah. We had Chris and his mute brother that one time, remember? I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, we played with Smitty. Who else did we do that with? I can't actually remember.
It was me, you, Smitty, and Reese.
Really? It was just the four of us. I could have sworn there was
one
more.
That's it.
I could have sworn there was one more person, but I guess there isn't. Could have sworn there was, but that's probably just my mind playing tricks on me. But yeah, I liked it when we played Murder. I don't think anybody knows we ever... we actually recorded the one time Reese freaked out, remember? He built that gun shop up, and we kept stealing his printers. And then he finally moved to the hotel, and the guy who kept stealing his printers, I turned out to be helping. Remember when he rage quit the Skype call?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I only actually worked with that guy once. Like, the other times I was trying to defend Reese, but I just stood back and watched. This time, Reese turned his back, had his front door wide open. I told the guy about it. He walks in, snatched the printers, and walked out the back door. And Reese was still busy building a tub. And to this day, I gotta wonder how. I've told you the story about, like, Reese sleepwalking to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Or at least, I think. I can't remember who it was, but somebody, and I think it was Reese. I swear upon it, and I think it was Reese. About how, like, he woke up in the middle of the night or something, or early morning, and he slept-walked, got on his ATV, and drove to Walmart. And I think this is Reese. Just because I don't know how many of my friends actually have ATVs. And it could have been somebody else. Like, back when we had a huge, like, admin team. I probably told this story, but they wound up coming home with, like, groceries. And, like, could you just imagine if, like, a cop pulled him over? Like, what if he was, like, doing a 90 in a 30 zone, and he was asleep. And suddenly he wakes up hearing sirens, and, like, veers off the road and goes off the cliff. Like, you gotta wonder, like, how did he correctly drive? Like, I can't comprehend. Well, my one friend, back in the day, you know how loud computer fans were, like, back in, like, 2003? Yeah, well, my friend had one of those, and he would talk to me over Skype with a pretty good headset, but his computer sounded like one of those old jet engines. And he finally got rid of it after, like, almost, like, a decade. And I've talked to him recently, and I asked him, yo, whatever happened to your computer? He says it's probably in a museum next to all the other jet engines. He's like, it was loud, dude. Like he was halfway across his room, and if that computer was on, you couldn't hear anything. I remember this one night I was supposed to play with him, and he was just... You know what Metal Gear Solid 4 is, right?
Yeah.
You know how the final cutscene of the game is like an hour and 30 minutes long?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an hour and 30 minutes long. He didn't know that. He thought it was just gonna be like a quick 1-2, there's the ending. He says, you know, I'll be with you in 5 minutes, let me watch this final cutscene. And I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for him, and he's on Skype with me, and he's like, how long has it been? I've been like 15 minutes. He's like, what? He's like, I said it's been about 15 minutes. He's like, oh dear God. About an hour and 30 minutes later, he's like, it's finally over. And I'm like, Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. But, we've been playing a lot of Payday 2 recently. And Old Hoxton is getting broken out on the 27th. And we've just been playing a lot of it. And we did Art Gallery today. It was it was Framing Frame Day 1, basically. And we played with my dear friend, Dalton. And Dalton's not the best of players, mind you. He's like, what is he? He's like a level 50 now, or something. And I swear to God, he thinks he's John Rambo, basically. In regards that he thinks he can tackle anything thrown at him. Could you imagine him trying to solo an overkill mission?
I don't think he'd last 5 seconds.
Like, the thing about doing overkill is, like, you have to make sure you don't get cloakered. Like, if you turn off the AI, there's nobody to save you. There's no one to save you. I would like to see him try to beat a mission on overkill by himself. And I'd like to see him act so tough. Like, you remember earlier today, he was like, Man, you're just being negative about everything when we're trying to tell him he's not that great. And that he couldn't solo everything. I think that's his one flaw. The one flaw we have in our team on Payday 2, we're not very well coordinated. I try my best during bank heists to like have like at least somewhat of a setup, but trying to do stealth, it's like trying to guide little children through, I don't know what you could say. It's trying to guide little children through a maze, I guess. You're not bad. You're not bad because you actually know what you're doing. But like Simpop, he's more of the loud type. So trying to do stealth with Simpop would be physically impossible because he would just want to rush in there with a shotgun and blow them away, which wouldn't be too bad. But the problem is we only had like, remember we actually did Framing Frame, and you remember how we got halfway through it. And, like, we had, like, a ton of the paintings, and we actually thought we were going to be able to do it stealth. Like, we almost had it. We almost had it. And Simpop kept telling us it was 4 pager answers per person. So we thought we had 8. And there was, like, what, 8 guards? We killed, like, what, 4? And then you go to answer the last pager, and they sound the alarm. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like... and then Dalton, he, like, stands, like, what he's spotting. I don't think when we were doing Art Gallery today, did you ever actually get, like, spotted by a guard for a second?
I think, like, once, well, it was, like, once every time we tried it, like, for, like, a second, and I get out of the way. That was him getting spotted all the time.
Yeah, he, like, stood, like, in the middle of, like, the light. Like, if somebody would look directly up, they'd spot him. Like, I also gotta wonder, like, the guards seem to have, like, this weird, like, cone of vision, you know? Like, you could be, like, on the entire right side of their field of view, and they'd somehow still sense you're there. They have this really weird cone of view, you know? Like, I would like to see, like, somebody design a mod where you could see, like, field of view for the guards. And I could just picture how weird that would be. Like, they'd have, like, sensors on, like, the right and left side of their brain. It's just kind of weird. And you weren't there, but I'm going to say this. I realized something. Night does not seem to matter during stealth. Did you ever realize that? You could do the same mission, like... They added day and night recently, and we tried to stealth Big Oil day 1, where you have to break into this biker gang's house. And it seems to be they can spot you from halfway across the map the same way they do during the day. At night. It's just kind of weird. Like, you would think, like, Framing Frame has, like, a night-centric mission. So you would think they would design mechanics, like, in regards to, like, oh, well, it's night. You're going to be much less detectable. But I guess to some extent, wouldn't that just kind of, like, break the entire, like, detection risk thing? Or, what do you think?
That'd be kind of, Well, that'd be kind of hard to code it like day and night to kind of make it harder to see at night. But they should have it so it's harder to see at night. Because, I mean, if you're looking for realism, the realistic approach to that is it's harder to see at night.
Yeah, and I agree. It's just like, well, yeah, it's like, this is night. That's the problem I actually had with Shadow Raid. They spotted me from, like, across the way. Like, I lost a Shadow Raid on Death Wish because of that. Like, we did me and Brandon at, like, 3 a.m. in the morning did, like, Shadow Raid on Death Wish. And we got all the way to the end, and we had all of the bags we needed. We couldn't get them all in the truck in time because I got spotted halfway across the map hauling the 4th bag.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, it's weird. What kind of variations of heists would you like to see? Like, what type of heist would you like to see?
That's a good question.
I'll just truthfully say this quick. John Wick was added as a character recently. It's Keanu Reeves, basically. They should have not added John Wick. They should have added Nicolas Cage. You know why? You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because then there would be a heist where we steal the Declaration of Independence.
That'd be pretty cool, not gonna lie.
That would be cool. Being Nicolas Cage in a heisting game where you steal the Declaration of Independence. That's basically National Treasure. 1 or 2, I can't remember. You just spout your idea now. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get that out there.
I still don't have an idea, but I feel like if they went kind of maybe had a DLC where it wasn't exactly banks they robbed, maybe something like you said, the Declaration of Independence or other historical items that people think.
Well, they're apparently planning on the National Gallery?
Yeah.
Apparently there's going to be a diamond heist at the National Gallery. That's coming soon. I don't know when. But that was one of the things that was announced. And there's apparently a heist that's going to be in the Golden Grin Casino in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So they're kind of moving away from Washington, D.C. a little bit. Las Vegas, that's quite a ways away from Washington, D.C. So that's kind of new.
You know what I just thought of?
What?
Maybe they could still keep the money idea or like diamonds or whatever they want, but maybe think about impenetrable places. Maybe the Kremlin, for example.
Oh, wow. That's actually really... How about Fort Knox?
Or Fort Knox or something like right away. Like they have a video just like showing the vastness of this place, and they're like, now you have to break into this, like just totally mind blown.
Wow, that is actually a really good idea. You should email Overkill and tell them your suggestion. Like they actually have an email for suggestions.
It would be a pretty long heist though. Like they'd have to make it pretty long.
They could do it like the Big Bank, for example, like with the pre-planning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of... You should really email Overkill. That is brilliant. Like break into Fort Knox and like steal... Or how about the Federal Reserve? Something like that.
Too.
Something like that. Yeah, we should email Overkill. That's brilliant, Lightning. I love the Kremlin, Fort Knox, and the Federal Reserve coming in a new heist DLC pack soon. There you go. That's brilliant.
I wonder if that would like if they had the Kremlin, like would they have to ask permission from Russia?
That's a good... Well, like, yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Because I know, like, Black Ops, like, I read an article on it, the ex-Cuban... Dictator was, like he's in prison, he was, like, trying to sue them, and...
From prison,
like,
no less.
Yeah, and they didn't win. I forget what the reason was, but it was, like, he committed all those crimes, and it's freedom of speech, so they can't have him in there, so that's why...
I thought it was, like... it was something relating to history. I thought like it was at least
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
he was a historical
representation.
figure, so
Yeah,
they can have him in there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why. That's why. Yep.
But yeah, it's like having yeah, that in that case that's like saying like that kind of fell apart. Like it's like saying like you have to ask like George Washington to use his likeness in Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
Like it's like the great 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 grandfather or something, or the great 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 nephew of like George Washington or something tries to sue Ubisoft because they used George Washington. It's like it's really he's a historical figure. Come on. Yeah, that's just that was kind of off the wall.
Yep. And then you also have to kind of look at like if you're using the Kremlin just like description or something. I mean, it's a historical place. It's fine, but then you're Payday 2. You're looking at breaking into it, and you might be using actual like structure inside the building. I could see how that could kind of be red flagged, but if they like did it a different way and still made
they
it
could say is they could have like they could model it out of like the outside, but have the interior be completely different.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and like the Federal Reserve, yeah, all of those would be kind of like, yeah, they'd have.
I don't think they'd actually go to the Kremlin even if they wanted to do that.
Well, I know we're kind of pushing time limit here, and I just kind of want to bring this up. Well, back when Arma 3 was being released, like, Arma 3's development was delayed quite long because, like, the developers were imprisoned in Greece for the longest time because they were doing research about, like, this military base, and because they were photographing it, they got thrown in prison for, like, a year or two.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and it was just for game development. And it was apparently really stupid, and they got released eventually, and then Arma 3 got released, like, shortly after that, but it was, like... It was, yeah, it's something like, I don't picture Overkill's gonna, like, paradrop Almir into the Kremlin just to take pictures. Like, I'm sure there's probably public photos available of the Kremlin that they could use to design, like, the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I highly doubt Almir and Overkill are gonna break into the Federal Reserve to realistically model it. While that would be kind of funny. Could you just... they'll pull, like, the end of GTA 5. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, pre-planning with Lester and everything. Somebody said they should make a GTA 5, like, mod that replaces every single one of the heisters with, like, a character from GTA. And then, like, have, like, Bane be replaced with Lester.
Yep.
Guys! The thermal drill! Go get it! But yeah, yeah... Stupid thing. Well, it's like Lindsay Lohan recently is trying to sue Rockstar because they quote-unquote used her likeness for that girl in the bikini in the loading screen. And on the cover, on the disc cover. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently, they actually didn't use their likeness. They actually used, I think it was like a supermodel or something, and they actually paid her to use her likeness. And basically the court case has fallen completely apart. I don't know if she's lost yet, but she probably will. I mean, come on, it's Rockstar. I could just picture them sitting there laughing on their high horse. And by the way, guys, it's been like what 390 some odd days and still no heists. Rockstar, you gotta step up your game, guys. When do you think heists are ever gonna come out? I'm just gonna ask that question quick.
For GTA 5?
Yeah, for GTA Online.
Never.
Never? Like, we're going to be sitting here 685 days after, like, GTA Online has launched, and there's still not going to be heists? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
We'll be sitting here 2 years later. We'll be sitting here 80 years later, and we still won't have played. I have a feeling. I have this one... I got to say this. I have a feeling heists are going to be very disappointing. Like, there's still this huge hype surrounding them, but I have a feeling they're actually going to wind up being very disappointing.
Yep, and there's a reason for that. There's already a game. It's called Payday.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, get it, guys. Get it. You can buy it in the description below. Well, yeah, you just click the link in the description below and you guys can buy Payday. It's basically GTA 5 heists, but better.
And then you can play with us. Maybe.
You can play with all of us.
Yeah.
You can play with all of us. And I think this basically wraps up this podcast. Before I go, if you're interested, we do have an exclusive Patreon podcast that is airing sometime in the near future. Our first episode will be airing of the exclusive Patreon podcast. So feel free to pay $1 on Patreon to check out the free Patreon podcast once you've subscribed to Patreon. Well, subscribe to us on Patreon. Other than that, I do recommend checking out Lightning Bolt's channel. He is a great YouTuber, and he is very promising, of course. I recommend you subscribe to him. His channel will be one of the first links in the description below, if not the first link in the description below, because Lightning is that important. As always, I'm Harold, and I'll let Lightning have his goodbye.
Goodbye. Donate $1. $1 equals 1 booty for you.
Yeah. And just to give one extra plug, I didn't mention this. Patreon subscribers also get added to my Steam friends list, my Skype friends list, and they do get access to some more stuff in the near future. But thank you for watching. I am MrCoolmanist. I was joined by Lightning Bolt, and we will see you in the next episode.